I don't think a lot of people understand what the whole situation is. In East Baton Rouge Parish, we have a consolidated plan of government. And what it does, it consolidates all of the services and departments of into the parish government. As a result of that, part of the consolidation plan, the mayor of Baton Rouge is also the president of the parish, and the Metro Council is also a parish council. So every part of East Baton Rouge Parish is already represented, and it's under the parish government. That means that someone like me who lives outside the city limits of Baton Rouge is still governed by the parish government. It also means that I have 3 layers of governments that I have to live under and deal with: federal government, state government, and the parish government. Why should I want to create a new layer, an additional layer of government for me to deal with? And that's what the St. George does. But you see, the city of Baton Rouge limit is at my street. The people who are in the next subdivision next to us, they're in the city of Baton Rouge. We are not. My street is the first street that's outside the city limits of Baton Rouge. And we have been included in this proposed St. George area. It's very strange if you look at the map that runs along the St. George area, runs along and all of a sudden takes a dip at my street, runs along Jefferson Highway, and then all of a sudden dips down, takes in my street, and goes right back up again. We have one of the main people in the St. George, the St. George proposal that are pushing the proposal, one of their spokespersons that lives on our street. So it really looks like that the line was gerrymandered to come in, take in his residents, and then go back out again very quickly. So the only reason I can see that we've been included in the proposed St. George city is we have someone who is very active in this whole proposal for the new city of St. George. There are 10 houses on my street that own the lake that backs up to our property. Again, looking at the map, the lake is not included in the St. George, proposed St. George area. Again, just that one street is in, and then it goes right back out again and does not include the lake. So theoretically, if this goes through and St. George is created, we'll be in the city of St. George, but our lake will be outside the city of St. George. And we don't know how that's going to impact, what our ownership and what can be done with the lake and not done with the lake and so forth. So it's going to cause a very complicated situation. Once you create, there's a question as to, okay, now what does St. George have in their responsibility, and what's the continued responsibility of the parish? So that causes also a problem, and this policing thing is a major problem. So the question comes again, well then where's our situation? Who do we call? Right now we know to call East Baton Rouge Parish sheriffs if there's a problem or to get protection. After this takes place, and if it takes place, then we don't know how that's going to happen. There's a lot of misinformation that's being put out by the St. George promoters about service and how terrible it is. And we don't have a problem with service. We get our garbage picked up. That's parish. We get our trash picked up. We have protection of the sheriff's department. We have fire protection. And there's so many people right now who really think that if they vote for the St. George and become part of the city of St. George, they will no longer have to deal with the parish council or the mayor president. I've had people say, oh, well, we're going to vote for it because we don't like the mayor president. Well, I got news for you. The mayor president isn't going anywhere. The mayor president, the office of mayor president, is going to always be there, the president of the parish. The mayor of Baton Rouge is also the president of the parish. everybody votes for the mayor of Baton Rouge, the city of Baton Rouge. Everybody. Because they also are voting for the parish president. So if you don't like the present parish president, all you got to do is vote for somebody else when the election comes up. That is the quickest and the easiest and the less expensive way to change the administration for the parish. Not create another city that's going to give you additional mayors and councils and bureaucracy, but take care of the ones that you already have. It's going to cost more money. Jim Richardson from LSU is a great economist who's done studies on budgets and so forth and projections on how things are going to be for the state and the state legislature for years. He's a professor at LSU. Jim Richardson just came out with a study stating very clearly that the proposed budget that St. George promoters have come out with will not be adequate to run the city. It's too low. It's a very low estimate. And he came out with an estimation of what it would take, and the only way to get to the level that Jim Richardson thinks it has to be is to raise taxes. So you can bet the first thing on the agenda of the new city government is to raise taxes. Do I want to have my taxes raised when I'm getting all the services that they want to provide I'm already getting now at the taxes I'm paying? And the problem is that if that happens, then the parish is going to have to raise taxes also. So you're going to have a double tax raise coming from the new city of St. George and also from the parish to take money that they're losing to bring it back to their operating budget. So it's a terrible, terrible proposal. It's very interesting that now you hear the St. George people, the promoters of St. George, talk very little about their school system. Well, the reason, I think, is they know to do the things where to create their own school system and do things that to bring it up to a level that they want it, they'll have to raise taxes. I mean, it happened in Central. Immediately after Central was created, the first thing they did was raise taxes to build their school system. And once it's done, and once you're in the city, and once you are no longer in East Baton Rouge Parish, you've taken yourself out of East Baton Rouge Parish school system, you have no choice but to vote for the tax to build the school system in your city, because that's the only way your kids are going to be educated. So there's no choice there. You can't unring that bell. If you create that city, there's terrible chance that you're going to be able to get out of it.